Hello everybody, AmmuNity here. First video on the chopping block. I gotta go with something I'm not too attached to, but not something I don't understand. Got it. Talentless Nana is a show that aired in the autumn anime season, and to be perfectly frank, it's pretty good. Definitely one of the shows I don't understand as to why it didn't make as big of a splash as it probably should have. Not saying it's anything groundbreaking, but it's certainly quite good. It has a great blend of comedy, serious moments, which I argue is the most essential part of any anime, and show in general. As you can't have the bad without the good. More serious moments there are, less impact they have. If you space them out between comic relief and characters interacting, the show just becomes better in general. In case you have no idea what I'm going to be talking about, watch the first episode, you stupid cunt. But, now on to the premise. Seriously though, go watch the first episode before going on to the premise section, it'll still be here when you get back. There will be no spoilers post episode 1, I swear to you. But if you're a mad lad, you just want to go through it, all the more power to you, I guess. As I'll only spoil the events of the first episode and the powers of the individuals. So if you care about that, skip when I tell you to skip. I'll be reviewing each of these sections and giving individual categories scores. When the character reviews roll around, they'll also be given a specific score for the characters I most like within the show, along with those that are essential, such as the protagonist, the antagonist, and a favourite supporting character of mine. 3, 2, 1. Premise. Talentless Nana takes place in a My Hero Academia style world, as in, people just suddenly started manifesting superpowers out of thin air, you know, as you do. Casual Sunday, such as the ability to control or manipulate fire. Like, now that I think about it, it's more a dystopian X-Men situation going on here. Now, in this world, instead of everyone being chill about the whole ignorant, selfish children being given godlike power capable of toppling cities, they decide this whole superpower gene shit ain't gonna fly. We ain't having no X-Men revolution up in this bitch. So, they sort of manipulated publications of superpowered attacks, constructing these figures known as the enemies of humanity. Trust me, you better get used to hearing that phrase if you want to watch this show, because they say it so goddamn much. With these children given a common, non-existent enemy, they are sent to an island school where they're supposed to train and hone their skills to fight the enemies of humanity. But this ain't a shonen. It'd probably be more effective to just, kill them. But they seem to manifest these powers by the time they turn into a teenager, so they really have no other choice. You can't really go around murdering babies. So instead of instilling a hatred for the human race in these children, they send them to this school. Then, in the second year, I believe, they get a transfer student who is, guess who? Nana Shimura, our protagonist. And the show performs one of the best false sense of security first episodes I've ever seen. It's actually brilliant. A perfect first hook for the next episode. And to my fellow anime veterans, we should already know. Pink bitches be crazy. So Nana has been transferred to the school by the government officials and has been tasked with systematically slaughtering all of her classmates, in which she uses their own powers against them, creates some bizarre situations, and comes up with truly ingenious ways to kill her classmates. But now, obviously, here's the kicker. Nana herself is talentless. She has no power, which of course helps her alienate herself from her classmates, but adds even more tension to these encounters, as she's clearly the underdog. The premise in Talentless Nana doesn't have a lot of mileage in it as it is now, but with it being set on the island, but I believe it's setting itself up for something much, much bigger. But that will only come in time. With what the story is trying to get across, it is serviceable, so I'd personally give it about a 6 out of 10, above average. Next section is presentation! Talentless Nana itself is animated by Studio Bridge and licensed by Funimation, with 13 episodes in its first season. It's originally a manga series written by Loose Boy and illustrated by Iori Furuya. Also, I had no idea that Squeenix was behind this. Maybe this is where they get their character designs from. There are currently 7 volumes of the manga, out as of January 2021. The animation itself is not anything special, no outstanding choreography. The music, however, I find to be quite nice, harrowing, sometimes intense and sad. It hits all the right notes. Particularly in the final episode of the season, the animation during that scene is quite wonderful, and the music is so fitting. It's just a great scene. The opening as well isn't very good visually, but it's catchy and it gets you in the mood with its almost haunting melodies. And it doesn't really have many spoilers within it, except for the first episode, so thank God it's not in it. The ending, I don't even remember, so to be honest, that tells you enough. With presentation, it's quite bare bonesy in all honest. 5 out of 10, just barely gets all of the essentials. Characters. Now, I would have tried to edit a little clip in there of someone saying characters, but they aren't exactly easy to find. Now, with this category, obviously we have our protagonist, Nana, and the hero/antagonist/hilarious socially awkward neat, Kiyoya. I would also like to talk about Michiru. Nana Shimura. A protagonist should present most of their character traits through their interactions with other characters, so I'll be referring to them quite a lot during this section. As the protagonist, she does a good job, she is a pretty complicated character, and her false identity and true nature begin to meld together. Her actual bonds with, particularly Michiru, but even everyone else, they seem human. The relationship doesn't seem forced, and Nana obviously has no trouble killing. During her earlier episode, she's cold-blooded. But you see her feelings for these people develop over time, on screen, and it's pretty interesting. She also possesses this phone, which labels each of the other students with their potential kill count, a way for Nana to prioritize her kills, and plan around these dynamics such as power struggles. The way her character bends and shifts suits her backstory extremely well. Her growing, I wish it was romantic, I ship them so hard, bond with Michiru is extremely well paced and wonderful. Her interactions with this mysterious military official are also filled with tension, and Nana's heavily implied brainwashing add a whole nother level to the interaction. Her standing to attention while he's on the phone and bowing once it's over, the level of intelligence the man displays further creating tension. Honestly, Nana's backstory as well feels so human, and not exactly relatable, but you understand why she's doing what she's doing, which is all we can ask for in a protagonist. She is mentally unstable, but we can still look past that and see the frighteningly efficient killer known to us as Nana in a more human and soft light. A scared child who's been lied to and betrayed over and over again, and is being forced to commit such lies and betrayals again by her own malfunctioning moral compass. Overall, she's pretty great, and I'd personally give her in terms of protagonist a 6.5 out of 10. Now this is a great opportunity to explain my personal ranking system. A 5 out of 10 is an average score. This is a baseline for any of the categories I will be reviewing. A 10 out of 10 is something not easily given, and the requirements for which will be explained when I actually find a 10 out of 10 for any of the categories which I have found. It just shows that 10 out of 10s for me have a special emotional connection. So you won't be seeing any of them anytime soon until I feel confident enough or find a good enough editor, wink wink nudge nudge, I'm extremely inexperienced with editing so send help please, or tips in the comments are well appreciated. Mwah! Anyway, next up is Kiyoya Onodera. Now this man is a goddamn cinnamon roll with a knife in it and I love him for it. He especially is a conduit for the comedic aspects of the show, but in such a way that it doesn't diminish the actual threat he poses to Nana. Anyway, Kiyoya himself is an intelligent teenager, I don't know where the hell this show finds those, who is a pretty big shut-in. His design as a whole gave me some Kaido from Seki K vibes. This must be the work of Dark Reunion. But non-existent criminal organizations aside, he himself is also a pretty interesting character, as he will put himself into danger not necessarily to save others, but to obtain the information he needs to prevent his classmates' deaths. All of whom he is not very close to, but don't go thinking he's that Kirito, paragon of humanity, Jesus-kun character, if you will. He himself has flaws that he openly admits to. He has trouble making friends, where some of the humor is derived from, such as, I'm opening applications for someone to eat their lunch with me and be my best friend, to quote one. But his distance from everyone else allows him to more closely analyze the situations around him, without being concerned for social consequences, which almost makes him a polar opposite to Nana. Another thing to point out is his similarities and contrast with Nana, as an antagonist can be elevated by their contrast with their protagonist. Also, mini tangent. Anyone who says an antagonist has to be a villain, be a deer and put a bullet in your head. Using an example everyone should get, and if you don't, please go watch this show, like actually. L is Light's antagonist, right? He is the opposing force to Light, our point of view character, our protagonist. So, protagonist equals POV character, antagonist equals the opposing force to the POV character. Now that that's out of the way, both Nana and Kyoya have neat tendencies, such as both reading the same manga, keeping their rooms untidy. They both used to, well he still does, have trouble making friends when they freely expressed who they were, and acted on their likes/dislikes. However, Nana hides who she is as a character and sits upon a throne of lies, thank you Will Ferrell, but Kyoya himself is honest to a fault. Not because he is perfect, just because he himself sees that he has nothing worth deceiving others about. Kyoya lets himself be out in the open, while Nana restrains herself out of the implicit fear that she will become attached to one of her targets. The chess game that Kyoya and Nana take part in is also quite wonderfully placed, and the serious moments that occur are always based upon previous observations that Onodera has made, and Nana's counter-arguments are also extremely interesting, as you don't really know how she's going to worm her way out of these situations. Most of the characters in Talentless Nana have their superpowers play a part in their character, so skip to blank for no spoilers past episode 1 in case you've only seen the first episode like I asked. Kyoya himself has the power to just not die. He's like a mix between Subaru, without death making all his efforts pointless, and probably the protagonist from Bunny Girl Senpai, in terms of the way he acts with just without the open perviness. His power to not die would obviously, as a teenager, lead him to believe that he should take all of the bullets for everyone else. Who wouldn't if given the chance to save someone at no cost to themselves? Of course you would, but the fact there is no cost takes away the main element of heroics. So of course the shut-in NEET decides, with his god-given talent, he's gonna pull a Subaru and try to save everyone, but his immortality has also blinded him to the horrific act of dying, such as when he morbidly does autopsies, and asks to do one in front of the whole school at a funeral. So he's not exactly a popular guy. Despite his inherent unpopularness, Kyoya himself has driven Nana into corners upon multiple occasions. Along with the other opposing force, Jin Tachibana, who Kyoya shares many parallels with, such as them both being outside of the power system of the island, and their opposition to Nana, but for different reasons. I would give Jin Tachibana his own section, but that's like trying to make an essay with a single post-it note. So most likely in Season 2, when I review it, we'll get some more information on this mysterious monster. We haven't really gotten anything further about his character or backstory as of yet in Season 1 of the anime, but I find his character to actually be very enticing. Overall, I'd give Kyoya Onodera a 7 out of 10. Above average, but I do prefer him to Nana, mainly because his character is like a treasure chest that's just waiting to be unlocked, and that to me is very alluring and creates more intrigue in Season 2 for me. Now on to Michiru Inukai. Now when I first saw her in this anime and the way she acted, I first assumed she was going to be the most annoying part of the show, Nana's stereotypical link to humanity, but I was pleasantly surprised, and by episode 13 she easily stole, because anime can have light-hearted moments littered throughout it, unlike Western media where it's more, this is your woman and you love her situation in movies mostly, in terms of links to humanity in these kinds of stories. And unlike those movies, as much as I wish it were true, she isn't a romantic partner. Now then, onto the spoiler power section, so skip to the scores section if you please at blank. Michiru herself possesses the power to heal people by licking them, which of course leads to wacky hijinks, but only at the expense of her own life, shortening it every time she uses it. This of course pulls Nana's potential kill counter into question. How can a power used to heal kill someone? And their chemistry together is absolutely wonderful. Michiru is absolutely a cinnamon roll, completely and utterly, but unlike characters like Uraraka from MHA, she has a reason for being like that. Michiru, when she awakened her powers, she used them to help out at hospitals and heal her classmates, which of course is a case for bullying, licking sweaty boys who would scrape their knees and what. She is also studying to become a doctor, probably, so she can help others without putting her life at risk, but she will be prepared to do so if necessary. Her power is directly influencing what she wants to be. as if you're actually good at something, you'd want to pursue it further, which makes sense, right? Michiru's character isn't as complex as the other two I have reviewed thus far, but simplicity is not a bad thing. Take my baby beefcake Asta for instance. Michiru was most definitely my favourite character from the first season, mostly due to the actual scene she is in and the way she acts. I'd give Michiru Inukai a 7 out of 10. A truly wonderful example of the cinnamon roll character done right. Overall, the characters in this show are not anything worth writing home about, so I wouldn't give anything above a 7 out of 10, but they most certainly are not bad characters, and their interactions are most certainly worth the watch. Overall, Talentless Nana is a pretty good show, and considering the popularity of games like Among Us during its release, I'm surprised it didn't get more recognition, as I would award it the sleeper hit of the autumn anime season. I'd personally give it a 6 out of 10. Now that that's over, I'd like your guys' feedback on my opinions and ratings for the characters. Giving some points of contention and debate I would happily engage in, but I know Talentless Nana isn't exactly a show people will die for, so hopefully I'll get some friendly criticism/feedback from you guys. This is the first script I've ever written, so please help me improve myself and create better content. I've also heard that the manga is extremely popular, like second to Jujutsu Kaisen on Crunchyroll, so that's really interesting, and I might check it out if enough of you recommend it to me. Subscribe and hit that bell if you enjoyed. This has been AmmuNity Analyse, and thank you for watching.